Hello and welcome to Main Street Matters by Heart on Main Street, the podcast that knows a good transition when it sees one. I am your host, Patrick Keiser. Okay, today is the day we are having our One Day, One Heart event at the America's Mart in Atlanta. We are partnering with 11 different showrooms. Yes, that number has grown since Monday. Across these 11 showrooms, we'll be raising money to help retailers that have been affected by natural disasters. This will help them recover after the event, rebuild their stores, reopen, and remain a vital part of their community. This whole concept is about retailers helping out retailers. It's a very special community that you're part of, and while there might be some natural inclination to be competitive with one another, truly there isn't a need to be. Even retailers in your same community are in the same boat as you. The more that we can encourage people to shop at locally owned businesses, the more successful we all are. The more successful locally owned businesses there are, the more people will be encouraged to shop at these stores. And this is especially true in areas that have been affected by natural disasters. The more that we can help these retailers rebuild in their communities, the more viable they will be, the less likely that there will be a chain store that comes in and buys up the space and pushes the indie retailer out. And the more money that's spent at a locally owned business, the more money that stays in the community. So this is a really long-winded way of saying that when you help out another retailer rebuild their store, you're not just helping out that one store, but you're helping a whole local economy recover. So how can you help? If you're coming to Atlanta to the gift show, come visit one of our participating showrooms. They are the Butler Sales Group, which is located on the 12th floor of Building 2, Gib Carson, which is located on the 13th floor of Building 2, The Link Companies, which is located on the 16th floor of Building 2, Nora Fleming on the 17th floor of Building 2, One Coast on the 18th floor of Building 2, Raz Imports on the 18th floor of Building 1, Roadrunners, which is on the 15th floor of Building 2, Transpac, which is on the 18th floor of Building 2, Tag, which is on the 10th floor of Building 2, and Two's Company, which is on the 17th floor of Building 2. Also, we'll have a presence at the Indera meetup by Rooted in Retail. So if you're going to visit that, I know they have been a wonderful partner of ours, and a lot of our listeners also listen to the Rooted in Retail podcast. So if you're going to the meetup there, you can also participate there. So we have participating showrooms on floors 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18 of Building 2, and 18 of Building 1. So basically, anywhere you go, you're going to be able to participate in the event. And while you're there, if you visit any of these showrooms, ask any of the sales reps how you can help. They will have QR codes that you can scan to donate. If you're not going to be attending, you can still participate and donate. I've added the donation link in the episode description here, so please consider helping out with this exceptionally worthy cause. So if you're coming to Atlanta, stop by one of our partner showrooms and look for me too. I'll be hopping around from showroom to showroom really kind of all Thursday, and I would love to meet you. And I know of at least one brand, Tidewater Sandals, which is in the Gib Carson showroom, that's having a special incentive for you. So if you go into the Gib Carson showroom and you try on a pair of Tidewater sandals, not only are you going to receive a free pair of limited edition Heart sandals, but they're also going to make a $25 donation in your name. So go to Gib Carson, try on a pair of Tidewater sandals, make a donation, and they will also make a donation in your name, and win. So I hope to see you there. Now, for today's episode, on to our main event. We're going to be diving into part 2 of our summer book club series. As a reminder, or maybe an introduction if you skipped last week, this summer I'm going to be taking books that are intended for retailers and breaking down into their most important concepts. For this one, I'm going to break it into 9 or 10 different concepts. And this will help improve elements of your business and create a greater customer experience. There's a ton of great books out there that fall into this category, but honestly, who has the time to read them all? Well, me, I guess. So I'll do the reading, you do the listening, and we'll all grow together. With our first book club book, we are diving into the seminal book on the science of shopping, and honestly, my favorite business book called Why We Buy by Paco Underhill. Throughout this book, Underhill provides retailers with information on how to make a better shopping experience for their customers under the theory that an improved experience will keep customers in the store longer, buying more products, and create repeat customers in the process, which is honestly what we all want, right? In our last episode, we talked about how the store experience actually starts outside of your store before people even enter in. So we looked at ways to engage the customer outside the store, which include engaging the senses, sign placement, using humor or something eye-catching with additional signs, having seating outside for maybe those reluctant shoppers, and of course, your window displays. Today, we are going to mosey on into the store and start talking about things that you can do within your retail store to make a better experience for your customers. So cozy on up under a warm blanket, grab a hot cup of coffee or tea, or just continue driving for your next book club episode. The second major takeaway from Why We Buy is that every store needs a decompression zone. What is a decompression zone, you might be asking yourself? Well, a short answer is that it's the first 5 to 10 feet of the store when a customer enters. This is normally called a decompression zone or a transition zone. A slightly longer answer is that when a customer enters a store, or really any building for that matter, the body needs time to transition to the new surroundings. The customer has to slow their pace from a potentially brisk walking pace to a speed at which they will peruse your store. The body needs time to adjust its eyes to the new light coming in from versus the inside to the outside. The ears and nose need to sort out new stimuli and attempt to recognize what they're registering. The feet are feeling a difference between the concrete sidewalk and the floor of your store. There's a lot going on in those first few seconds as the customer walks into the store, but basically they're not in your store yet. They have to transition from the outside to the inside. And the amount of time that this takes for a customer can vary depending on lots of things, including maybe even the customer's age. But all of this is to say that, in essence, the first 5 to 10 feet of your store is no man's land. Customers will not pay attention to anything before they have transitioned into your store. If there's a product display, they're going to breeze right on by. Signs, they're not reading them. Saying, "Welcome, can I help you with anything?" the answer will be no. I was talking to a retailer recently who purchased a store about 3 years ago, and they said that the previous owner had about $10,000 worth of product right when the customer walked into the door, and they couldn't move it. It didn't matter how it was displayed. It didn't matter which brands that they placed there. It made no difference. The new owner cleared out the section, moved that product in, and then all of a sudden, it started to sell. Another retailer that I visited really wanted to emphasize a line of children's books created by an author from their town. She had the books right there when people walked in. And I asked her about them, and she said, "Well, I haven't sold one of them." I told her that she might have more luck if she moved the book to being on a display that was a little bit further into the store. And I'm gonna guess that if she did that, she would have sold more than one. Some stores are big enough that they can give up the first 5 to 10 feet of their store, which might equate to 20 to 40 square feet. But others are smaller spaces and need every inch that they can squeeze out. So Why We Buy also has tips on how to shrink that transition zone and maximize your selling space. One way to shorten the transition zone is to really emphasize the physical transition into the store. This could be accomplished by giving the customer a drastically different feel under their feet, like a welcome mat or a thick carpet. If the feel of the store is too similar to the outside, then it will take a customer longer to feel that transition physically. By having a difference in feeling, the customer's brain will start to register other stimuli sooner too. You can think about using a fragrance or aroma that the customer notices as soon as they enter. Now, you want to be careful about this because you don't want it to be too overpowering or negatively affect the customer, but you want to have something that is noticeably different from the outside. You can also simply greet the customer as they walk in. This is not an attempt to steer them anyway or solve any of their problems, but a simple greeting can remind them that they're now in a store. And it's also the best first step against theft as well. Another strategy to shorten the zone is to use product displays to stop the customer in their tracks. One way of doing this is to create what's called a power display or a horizontal display that acts like a speed bump, and a gigantic billboard for what the customer will encounter once they are inside the store. This objective might not be to actually get the customer to shop at this display, but rather to get them in the mood for the rest of the store. You can catch up with the product later in another section, but this is designed to slow them down and whet their appetite. On the opposite end of the spectrum would be to have some deeply discounted merchandise in the transition zone, something set at a price that is way too good to even pass up. Be careful not to become known for discount products, but having a great deal at the front can make people stop and take notice sooner. The last concept is to actually extend your transition zone, but to start it outside. This idea became much more widespread during COVID, where stores brought their merchandise outside into open air so people could shop, but the same concept can still be applied to the transition zone. If people start looking at your items outside, it makes the transition to the inside easier and faster. They are already prepared to shop. They are already interacting with your store. They already feel as though they have arrived in your store, so it takes less space for them when they do actually walk in. So for the next couple weeks, I want you to watch your customers as they enter and pay attention to your transition and decompression zones. I want you to focus on how long, like how many steps it takes them to feel like they're actually inside your store. What did they walk by without even paying attention to? And you do the same thing either in your store or other stores that you visit. So yes, walk in, turn around, and look back towards the door. I'm going to guess you'll be very surprised by what you see that you missed. Once you've done this, start to think about how you can rearrange your merchandise to be more conscious of your transition zone. Do you have items that need to be relocated somewhere else within the store? Are there items that everyone is consistently passing by? It might kind of solve some questions that you have as to why this product isn't moving at all. Can you create a speed bump display to slow people down and give them a glimpse at what they're going to see within the store? Can you add something to that space to make that transition more noticeable and shorten the time it takes for a customer to recognize that they're in your store? By understanding your transition zone, more customers will see more of your products that you have to offer and will be more likely to find what they came in to buy. So until next time, stay safe, shop local, and keep your heart on Main Street. This episode was written, produced, researched, and edited by me, Patrick Keiser, with a very special thanks to Paco Underhill and his book, Why We Buy. For more information about Heart on Main Street, you can visit www.heartonmainstreet.org. You can also email me directly at contact@heartonmainstreet.org. Thanks. Bye.